Hey folks, in this video I want to go over the actual project structure that we get from creating modules. So we talked about basically creating a .c file, creating a .h file, from basically taking out stuff from a base file and then making our own. So what does this look like at a high level? It means basically, right, that we have separate files. And so we actually would have, right, in this example, which we said, there's like a main, and there's utility, and then there's a stack, we'd have actually 5 different files. So that's what I have up on the screen. The two we've just been talking through are basically this utilities.c and this utilities.h, right? Those are our simple header files. Then we'd probably have something like this, another file called main.c, which has all of our main program code. And I guess we'll go and continue there, right? We also need to have some sort of a stack, right? Files that are available, right, with whatever stack functionality we want. So we got something like this. We're going to have 5 different files, right, in this little project. So let's see, what's important here? What's important here is actually these little arrows. So you may notice I have these little arrows here that say things like includes. And so that's actually referring to that one command. So if you think back to the previous video, we had our file our utilities.c file, and in there one of the very first lines was include utilities.h. Right, so that means that the C file wants to bring in that file, right? Wants to bring in that header file and make that code available in it. Okay, so that's how basically there's alignment between, oh hey, this is the implementation, this is the specification, right? That include there. Now also you'll notice there's an include over here for main. So main also includes utilities.h. So what does that do? What that does is basically tells main, bring in the specification for utilities.h, because then I know how to use it, right? It's basically saying what functions does utilities provide to me so that I can know how to use them. Remember that the utilities.h file contains all the 4 declarations. So main is effectively getting a list of all the functions that are available so that it will be able to call them. Okay, so that's how we use kind of one module from another module. All right, going over here, on the right-hand side, we have the same deal again, right? So we have stack, and there's kind of this pattern repeated, where there's one specification which is included by the actual implementation of it, and then also included by the main file, right? So we need to use it kind of in 2 places, right? We need to use it when we implement it, so we know what we're building, and then we need to use it in main, so main just has the stuff actually available, right? So we can actually make practical use of it. Okay, so this is a very typical project layout, right? We have several C files, several header files, and all the different C files, right, are kind of including the header files that are relevant to what they want to do. All right, so this is how your project will roughly look. Now, once you get to actually doing this in ID, which we'll take a look at a little bit later, it'll look kind of like this. I have a screenshot here at the bottom. This is in NetBeans, right? So NetBeans basically have the idea of having a project, and this project can contain multiple source files. That's what we have in the lower left, right? So this is NetBeans, and you can see I have this project open. The project here is just called CPP application. I should probably call that C instead of CPP, right? So this isn't C++, but whatever. You can notice here, right, that I have my different files. So I have my stack.h, utilities.h, main.c, stack.c, utilities.c. I got all that stuff there, right? So those will show up right in a NetBeans, right, if we're trying to put this project in there. And you can either do basically a right click and create the files inside the project, or you can just drag them into those different folders. The .h's need to be listed under header files. The .c files need to be listed under source files. Okay, now if we put these all together, we can basically just click compile, and it'll be good to go. It'll basically take care of combining all our files together. There's actually an idea somewhere where we have this thing called the linker, which basically its job is to combine different C files. So we want to basically compile each of our C files separately, right? Get kind of machine code for each of them, and then link them together into one executable file, right? That's what's happening behind the scenes. Now in NetBeans, that kind of just all happens automatically. Now, that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. It's going to be easier to use that way. As kind of a second thing to talk about here, right? We also can use GCC to compile a command line prompt, right? That would be our other thought here of things we could do. And basically what that is, right, is I have different syntax. So I do GCC, right, a command line of main.c, utilities.c, stack.c, right, all 3 of them, right, and then I do an output. That basically tells GCC that, hey, I need 3 files to be compiled. It'll compile all 3 of those, and then it'll pass that to that linker, right, which basically looks at those 3 files and combines them together into one executable. Okay, and that's what we want to give to the user, right, that they can run and they can see the result. All right, so that's all I got for this video. And next video, we're going to briefly look into NetBeans and see how it actually is to create multiple files and compile them and see some output.